Hi everyone, this is Sandy Diana. This is my over the garage workroom. Excuse the mess behind me, it just kind of keeps growing. Anyway, I was going to do a live video, but I could not. So I am going to just record it. So I'm using a different camera location and different camera. And hold on just a second, I forgot to start this one. I'm going to record from two different cameras so that I can, when I edit them, I might put the different views in there because I have a couple different views that I'd like for you to see. Anyway, one of the things that I've been trying to attempt to do is to make patterns like Amber does on Bingham Bliss. I've been very encouraged by it, and I've been trying to get an Etsy shop up with as a baby boutique, baby items that have been exploring and playing with for years now. Anyway, I have two little granddaughters, and I just love sewing. And I used to sew the clothes for my little girls when they were little. And so anyway, that's really kind of where my passion is, and I've been trying to do that. Anyway, but I wanted to explore the pattern making out of the vinyl, the marine vinyl. And so I went to Joann. I actually ordered me some from Marine Vinyl, and it hasn't arrived, and I'm a little impatient. So I went to Joann's and I found some marine vinyl, and I'll show it to you in just a second. The first thing that you need to do, this was why I decided to make this video, because I'm not even sure if you have one out there, Amber. If you do, I just haven't looked for it carefully enough. But I know every time you do a video and I see those patterns, I'm like, man, I want to make those. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to make them. Amber may have done something different. I don't really know, but I'm going to do my best at showing. So the first thing I did was I went to the different locations and I downloaded, I purchased the patterns, and I purchased them off of Made by Me Patterns. I really like her patterns, and I have a serger. As you can see right there in the background, I have a serger, and I would like to explore using that a little bit more with this. So I downloaded the different patterns, and I got this one, and I got this one. This is the romper that Amber just showed us how to make on Sunday. Was it Monday? It was Monday. Where she did the how-to, which was so great. I loved it. Anyway, I got that one, and I got this bummy one. I saw her when she made those, and also when Connie from Scandies made them also. And then I got this one right here, which were the leggings. They call them leggings, but you know, the pattern is actually called harem, baby harem pants. But I just love them. They're so sweet. And I have all of this fabric that I've been purchasing and lining up, and all these ideas in my brain as to how these clothes are going to look, and I just hope they're going to turn out. But the first thing you need to do before you can take any of your fabric and turn it into clothing is you have to come up with a pattern. So that's what I've done so far. So basically each pattern, it is set up to where it has directions and it has pattern pieces, and the pattern pieces you're going to take these pattern pieces, and they tell you exactly what letters to hook together. This one didn't need to hook to another letter, so I didn't hook it to a letter. But you've got these letters that would tell you which letters to join it to, because I bought other patterns and they didn't work out well. These are great patterns for anybody that would like to use these. And then then it's got all of the directions on how to sew all of the pieces together. This was another pattern piece that did not need to be hooked together to anything. So I guess I'll start with this one, and this is the baby harem pants. And I've already pre-connected the other pants, and if you see the letters, they join together and it joins perfectly together. So, and I'm not going to, in order to make these plastic patterns, I'm not going to cut out the pattern, because you know, the way I would have used to have done it when I learned how to sew years and years upon years ago. So that's that pattern, and then this is this pattern. And so these are the things that you're going to need to get started with, and that's why I couldn't make them every time I went to go get started. I've already put some of the other ones together. I took the time and put the jumper together last night. This one is the Bummies, and this is when I realized I put it all together and it really wasn't necessary except for on one piece. The center piece right here. This one was the only one that it really needed to be joined to another pattern. But that's okay. I have it all connected now, and I know that this is the Bummies. So I've got the Bummies set up, and then I also have the, this is too bright on me. I also have the pattern piece for the romper. And the romper goes all the way to 5 to 6 years old. And I'm not going to make a pattern for each and every size that is on here. I'm going to start out with just a couple of the sizes, and then if they sell well, I'll offer them. And then if when I go to make them, then I'll make a new pattern. Like I said, I've got more of the marine vinyl on the way. But I went ahead and I've got these all hooked together already. So they're ready to roll, and I can start with this. But I think I'll start with the Bummy first because that's the quickest one and the easiest one. And I'm going to unroll my marine vinyl that I got. Now, I will tell you at Joann's, if you go and get this, it was cheaper than when I ordered it from Marine Vinyl. First of all, I went to Amazon, I went to Marine Vinyl, and they wanted to charge me $26 worth of shipping. Well, I didn't want to spend $26 just on shipping, so I'm cheap. I can't help it. So then I went to Amazon, and I found it for like 10 something a yard. And I don't know, I might have some really super thick stuff when it gets here. I don't know because I don't have it yet. So I went to Joann Fabrics yesterday, and they've got 3 types of vinyl. I used this one. I got this one a couple weeks ago, and it's the thinnest, but they've got 3 different levels at Joann, and I got the thickest of all 3 levels. Well, the thickest one was $6.99 a yard and no shipping. So I ended up getting a remnant because that was all that was left on the roll. They went to the back and they got more, and I got 2 more yards of it because I figured if I'm going to make them, I'm going to need a lot if I'm going to use all the different sizes. So I'm going to start out using the remnant first, and I'll set this one over here. And hopefully I won't bump my head in the video so y'all don't see me, because this is my ceiling up above it, because like I said, it's my room over my garage. Anyway, it's a great room. It's a great space that I have, and I love it. So I'm not going to complain even when I bump my head. My daughter, of course, that comes up here all the time, that she always works on this side instead of working on that side, and she bumps her head all the time. This is my favorite side for whatever reason. So I have my vinyl. And then I have, Amber she has weights that she uses. Those are really super nice. I don't have the money to order those. So I have these. This is funny because these are what we use for the washerboard game. My son-in-law's from Texas, and they play the washerboard game. So these are the washers that we use on the washerboard. I call them the Texas nickels because look how big they are. When you put them up to my hand, look how big they are. Those are washers. And anyway, so I'm going to use these. They're pretty heavy, so I'm going to use those as weights. And then somebody recommended that on the other night that you could use canned food. So I brought up a couple of cans of olives. I mean, not that. And I also, in order to do this, I'm going to need, trying to get some of this other stuff out of the way. I figured I would need a Sharpie. So I got this big flat Sharpie, and then I have some colorful Sharpies so I can actually color coordinate it, and one size can be all one color rather than all of them being black, and then I'm trying to figure out, okay, which color goes to which one, or whose is which, and whatever. I mean, I'm going to write the size on it, so it really won't matter. And then, so I'm going to open my package of Sharpies. I'm going to move all of this down here. I've got my rulers in the way. I thought I had everything lined up to where I would use it, but nice sewer thing to go off. My trash can's full. All right, so I have something else down here that I want to try using because I don't really want to mess up my good. I don't want to mess up my really good rulers over here for straight edge. So I figured when I get on some of this, I've got a paint straight edge that I use for other things, but I thought it would be nice because if you get Sharpie all over it, who cares? It won't matter. So I've got that. So I think I'm ready to get started. I shouldn't need any pins. I shouldn't need any clips. And I'm just going to lay this flat though because the vinyl is going to come across some of this. Maybe I'll turn it this way while I'm working on the other. And if I don't have a pretty cutting board, but I have a functional cutting mat that I have had since I had my sewing business when my girls were little. 30 years ago I bought this. Anyway, it's tried and true. I love it, and the best part about it is that it survived the tornado that tore down my garage, and it survived that tornado. So I love it. It's got all the marks and mars on it from where that tornado twisted it around, and it survived. And I'm a survivor also. Yesterday was my 9-year anniversary of surviving breast cancer. And so anyway, I keep it because it's a survivor, and so am I. So I'm going to lay it out like this. I hope you can see what I'm doing from this angle. I'm going to unroll it. The lady rolled it up real tight for me. She thought she was being helpful. It really didn't need to be real tight, but I got it. I might turn this the other direction. Oh, look at the static cling. Hey, look, that's good to know. It's got static cling that will stick to your paper so it won't slip and slide while you're trying to move it around. That's very good. Very, very good. I like that. So you just have to get it positioned to where you get it flat. And I'm telling you, once it sticks, it sticks. I know the lady, she was asking me what I was using this for last night when I was buying it. And I told her that I was going to make patterns out of it. And she was telling me that she uses cardstock. Well, I use cardstocks too because I'm really a mask maker, and that's how I got back into my sewing business. And I'll just show you some of my masks that I use making patterns. This is a cardstock pattern. This is why I don't want to use cardstock for this because just that little bit, because I cut them with a cutter, just that little bit where you cut and this one is even laminated construction paper, and I cut it also, and I probably will cut the plastic too. I don't know. This one I had to put a little boo-boo tape on it because I cut it also. So I've tried all kinds of different ways to make patterns. So I thought, let me try this way. Let's see how much better this one will work. So what I'm going to do is I don't really know if I even need the weights. So maybe right here. Yep. I'm going to unroll this a little bit more. Put my cans there. They're not even as heavy as the weights are. The weights are pretty heavy. All right, that way it does. I don't want it to shift, and we do know that won't. So what the goal is here is to trace it with the Sharpie. So I will probably fast forward this through when I start. So I want to first find what size am I interested in making first? Well, I'm really interested in making this 3 to 6 month and the 1 to 3 month, but I really think I'm going to start with 3 to 6 months. So that's the first thing you want to do, is to decide where you want to do it. So I'm going to start and find my line with the 3 to 6 months. And I can't focus that in on the camera just yet because of the fact that I can't move the cameras. But what I'll do is I'll focus in on that when I get ready to upload it. So I'm going to just put my line. Now here's where the tricky part's going to come in. You have to figure out which one it is. So where the curve is, it is the second line from the inside instead of, you don't go from the outside. So it's the second line from the inside. And I'm just going to trace along that second line. And you know, the best part about this is I remember when I used to make when I used to make clothes with real patterns, the paper patterns, you know, once you cut them, you cut them. I did see a girl today, she used a Sharpie and just traced over the pattern onto a piece of cardstock, and the Sharpie just would bleed right through the pattern paper, old school pattern paper where it's made out of tissue paper. It was, it traced onto the cardstock, and that was effective, but I'm not a big fan of the cardstock, but I do like this idea right here. So, you know, I'm noticing one thing, and I don't know if I can bring my camera over here. I might take and do this. I'm going to add this video to it. This might be better. I'm going to start this video, and I'll put all 3 of the videos together. Okay, so I'm going to try to show you what I've done so far. Let me trace this last line, and then I'll show it to you. That way I've got it all traced. By the way, I just did one of my number 1 things. Don't write underneath where your hand is, because Sharpie takes a little bit of time to dry, and you don't want to smear what you just wrote. So I'm just going to lift my hand up a little bit, cut 1 on fold. That's important. So that one has cut 1 on fold. This one has cut 1 on fold. This one. So all 4 of these pieces must be cut on a fold. So when you are positioning this on your pattern, that is really important information if if you've never used patterns to make items with. That is actually an art of learning how to read a pattern, and reading the pattern's direction is just as important as learning how to cut out and lay out the pattern. But so just be mindful of all of those seam allowance. So, and they've put this on the side where the seam allowance has been allowed. All right, so that's probably because you're going to connect it. Okay, so I'm just going to look back over, make sure I have marked everything, see where I smeared it, because I told you if you put your finger on it after you've written it, then that's what happens. But and it's dried already. So it's like that. If it really bugs me, I'll do something about it, but it really doesn't bug me. So I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to keep all of these. I don't really know if this number is important or not, because it's really on the pages, but I'm going to put it on here just in case. So I'm going to put it up here in the corner. I'll probably erase that one. Okay, this is 2. This is 2, and this is 4. This came off of 4. And that is a terrible marker. Okay, so what I'm also going to come back here and do is I'm going to write, this is 3 to 6 months. Because when you go to make more than one of these patterns, that's going to be very important. You're not going to want to get them mixed up, because I'm not tracing over where that other is because it's too small. So I'm going to just simply go back over each one of my patterns. There, I messed up. 3 to 6 months. So I won't forget what size I cut this pattern for. This is probably going to be my most favorite one I use. 3 to 6 months. Okay, so now I have it all done, and I'm going to remove my plastic from underneath. You see how much static cling it has in it? All right, so I'll move that out of the way, and look, there's my pattern pieces. There's my pattern pieces. So now all I need to do is use my rotary cutter. I'm going to use this smaller rotary cutter, and I'm still going to use my real ruler that I use for my rotary cutter because I don't want to waver on cutting my lines. I want to make sure I cut them nice and straight, but I'm going to use this tiny blade one because when I go to do this one right here, I think it's going to work better. I think it will work better. And you're going to want to cut right on your lines. Did I cut through? Oh, I did. You don't want to cut your lines off because I drew directly on top of the lines, and I would rather have those black lines on my pattern first of all so I can see where I'm cutting, and that's going to be the true actual pattern that you need. All right, pattern piece number 1. Pattern piece number 1. Pattern piece number 1. Oh, you really can't see it up against that, but you can if I put it up against the black background. Okay, so that's pattern piece number 1. This is so nice. And see, and I will probably put all of these for the bunny along with the directions. I will put them into a Ziploc bag to keep them all stored nicely. Now, the larger ones, Amber recommends that she hangs hers so that they don't get all messed up. And I'm going to figure out a place in my room up here that I can hang patterns. I also have large bags, or either I'll take construction paper, or either poster board is a great way to store things. This is what I would do in my classroom. I would take 2, I say that like I'm retired. I'm not retired yet, but I'm not in my classroom right now because I'm only teaching virtually. But take 2 poster boards and tape them all the way around on 3 sides. It doesn't matter which 3 sides you choose, just make sure that all 3 sides will intersect. One side will be all by itself, and then you have made your own pocket. That's what a teacher would do to store her posters in, and then you can label that. And I say poster because some of these patterns are probably going to need a pocket that large. They will need one that large. So keep that in mind when you're getting that. And that one cut off a little bit on that, which I'm not happy with that, but too late now. So I'll know, I can see where it is from the other one. So pay attention to what you're doing when you're cutting. I'll just make sure that every time I cut, just if you notice it, that I cut off of it. But it's not too far off, so it's not gonna make so much of a difference. But that was one of those ones where it's on the curve and it's harder to cut because I don't have the ruler keeping my rotary cutter just in place. Now, if you want to know how to put these together, I'll make another video later. However, I don't really need to make the video for you. If you wanted to go and look at the video on Bingham Bliss or either Scandies, they have both made these So I don't know that I'm going to make them any differently than anybody else, but I might do the video when I get ready to. So I'm going to lay this flat, the white paper flat, so I can lay these all out. They're all done, the patterns for the bummies. And see, now you can see that now that it's cut, it doesn't want to cling to the paper. Can you see that? With that, it doesn't want to cling. That's where your weights are going to become important, because you'll take your weights, and these are perfect size for doing what I'm doing, and you'll lay it in position on your fabric, and then it won't shift and move around on your fabric. But there it is. That's the bummies pattern, and I'm going to continue working and cutting all the rest of them out, and that's it. I'll probably add some pictures of all the rest of the patterns. I'm not going to videotape all of it, because you don't need to watch me cut 3 more patterns out when you've already seen me cut 1 out. But anyway, let me show you in this camera, just in case, depending on which video camera I use or video I use, because I'm going to use the best one. So here are all of my pattern pieces that I've used and that I cut out. It's the cuff. So there it is. Okay, now you know. Anybody else that would like to know how to make these patterns out of the vinyl Marina, or the marine vinyl. I don't know why I keep getting that messed up. And then here's the original, and you still have the original that you can go back and you can make a new size with it. And there's nothing that I messed up about that. That's what I really love about it, because the one lady that was showing, that I saw her showing using the Sharpie, the problem with that is this: Sharpie bleeds, tissue paper really spreads it out quickly, and these lines are super close together. So if you've got these lines super close together and you've written on it and it's bled all over this tissue paper, and or even this paper, then you might have to print another one when you go to make another size. Because if you want to pay attention, look how close these lines are down here. So I'm super glad that I did not use a Sharpie and do that, because even printing them, they are so tight and close together. And if you put a Sharpie on that, you're going to ruin that piece of paper, and you're going to have to print that whole piece of paper. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this back up, because I'm not going to make another size of this, because I'm just going to, right now, I'm just going to make a sample out of my 3 to 6. And it's okay that I fold it up, and I'm going to clip it back to my package. So I have my package all together, and I do try to keep all my patterns stored nicely so that I can use them again. I will tell you this. This is my favorite part about these patterns, is that I've gotten to the point where when you go to Joann Fabrics, or you try to buy McCall's or Simplicity or Vogue patterns, oh my goodness, who's been to buy a pattern lately? They're like $14, $15 a pattern. Well, they're not any better than this is right here. I have my own printer at home, and all I did was print it out. The only problem is that if you end up with a pattern problem like I did, and I need to really probably go back to the pattern and actually look at it on the computer, but it is confusing, and I don't know what pages go to what pages, so it was really hard to end up. But I used it, and I got enough of it out of it that I was able to put the pattern together, because I really just bought it because I wanted certain parts of the pattern, so it was okay. It worked out for me. But in this situation, I want the whole pattern. I don't want that. But if it's super confusing for you to put it together, then that pattern is useless to you. So make sure that it's got great directions on the pattern pieces. Hopefully they'll give you like a little preview to where you can look at it and you can see that. So I'm finished with this one. This one is going to go right here, and I'm going to store it in a gallon-sized bag with a card marked on it. Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Where is that? Hopefully I'm not, my basket flipped over the other day. this is something I saw. There they are. I saw this with somebody. They were to store things that they have. So I have these Ziploc bags, and this one should fit in here. It's not going to be the big enough to be the whole one, but they said if you have any old file folders, take your old file folder, cut it apart to fit inside your Ziploc bag, and I'm going to label this Bummies. Pattern. And directions. All right, so I'm gonna, because I want to keep this together. So what I did was I wrote this on the card, wrote that on the card, and I'm gonna clip this probably back to this and put it inside my Ziploc bag. And like I said, it doesn't completely put it in there, but it's protective enough. And I store my patterns. I've got a drawer that I keep my patterns in. And then I'm going to label this one differently, because this time I want to know that this one is the Bummies, and it is for a 3 to 6 month. So I'm going to label this one Bummies, because when I go to make multiple ones, I'm not going to want all the different pattern pieces all mixed together in the one. So Bummies, 3 to 6 months. Put all the pieces together, and you could use tissue paper to separate them, but I don't think I don't think it's gonna matter as much. And then take your Ziploc bag, because once you start cutting out all of these patterns, you don't want to get them all mixed up, do you? So there you go. So I have this one all together. I want to try to get it as flat as possible. And then this one I'm going to zip up because I want it to stay flat with that static cling. And there you go. 3 to 6 months Bummies. And I'll put that over there. So that is the completion of doing that. And that's how you can organize it. You can store it. And there you go. All right. Thank you very much. And I'll post some pictures throughout the video of what they look like with the rest of them so that you can see them. And I hope this was very informative for you. If you like my video, check out some of the other ones that I have on there. I usually make videos of things that I can't find on YouTube myself. So if I can't find it and I'm looking to know how to make it, I think maybe other people want to know how to make it, so I'll make a video for that. And this was one of the things where I wanted to learn how to do this. So I made this for you as well as for myself. So anyway, like and subscribe my channel if you can. Help me out. And thanks, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. when I came to this section, I was at the corners, and I remembered that Amber squared off her tops or her straps on her romper, and so I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, so I went ahead and I did the round part with what was on the pattern, and then I also squared out each one, and I cut them square so that I could have either one as an option. Also, I learned, don't throw away your scraps. You could use them for smaller pieces. So I pulled out some of the scraps, and I was able to trace out the cuffs on the scraps. Okay, so here is what I was talking that I was doing. You've got your 1 to 3 month, 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 month, and I'm starting out with the 3 to 6 months is what I'm doing. So you have to follow your line all the way around, and I know it's freaking me out because, you know, I went past the edge, but when I get ready to cut all of that out, it's going to be nice and clean because that's going to be left behind on the leftover plastic. So now at this point in time, that inside portion right here, sorry if I'm making you dizzy, that inside portion won't be seen because you're not going to be doing that. So I'm just going to leave this running. I don't go by centimeters, I go by inches. But that's important. This is also important right here. Can you see this? Where I've got the place on the fold. That's very important because you don't really want a seam there if you don't have to have a seam there. And if you forget it and you don't put it on the fold, then guess what? You don't have a seam. So this one is place on the fold. see it? So basically I have traced that whole thing, and then the next step after I do that is going to be cutting it. After I finished tracing and cutting out all of the pattern pieces, I made sure I had bagged each one of them and put them in the folders. I tried to do it as I went along, but I made sure they were all done and nice and organized in a box. I hope you enjoyed this video, and it was very informative for you to be able to see exactly how to make this pattern. If you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to making more videos for you in the future.